You're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show with your host, Eric Mancini. Real talk from the heart. Now here's Eric.
Welcome and good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr., and we hope that you had an awesome, wonderful Sunday day today. And it is Sunday evening, and I am feeling really great that I have the opportunity to share with you tonight. And we have a very interesting show for you tonight, and we want to talk to you a little bit about, before we get started, let me just say that the Heart to Heart Talk Show is proudly brought to you by TalkWatt Network, and please check out the other shows on TalkWatt Network at www.talkwatt.com, and you can actually, you should be actually viewing the show and hearing the show on www.waveoffaith.com, and we do appreciate you checking us out here at the Heart to Heart Talk Show. Tonight, we want to talk to you about a controversial topic, and we certainly want you to feel free to call in. The call-in number is 813-235-0644. That's 813-235-0644, or 813-639-TALK, and that's 8255 on that last four. All right, and we definitely look forward to hearing from you. Tonight, we want to talk about there is a very interesting law that was very new to me. I had not heard. I'm sure those of you who are from Florida are much more aware of this particular law. And tonight, I want to talk about the Stand Your Ground law. It's interesting, in the state of Florida, there is actually a Florida statute which falls up under justifiable use of force. And it basically, in a nutshell, it justifies or allows the use of force it's supposedly to protect oneself, or it falls under self-defense, really, as long as it's not against a police officer, is what the law states. So I want to just kind of read some of the portions of the law and kind of talk about it tonight. And we want to get some different views on this. I feel like that it's not necessarily used fairly. I think, we all know about the Trayvon Martin case. And so, what do you think? I mean, the Stand Your Ground, should you be allowed to carry a firearm and utilize that firearm to the point where you can have excessive force or you can have deadly force if you feel necessary, as long as you believe that your life is threatened. Now, we know that in the Trayvon Martin case, there really was no threat of life, I believe, in my opinion, to the degree where a weapon was used. There was no weapon found on Trayvon Martin of any kind. And to use a handgun to defend yourself against someone who has no weapon, I think is excessive. And I don't think the Stand Your Ground law should have ever even applied to that. But we'll get to all of that. But I just want to hear from you as well. And let me know what you feel, because I think I think the people still have the right to speak out when there are unfair laws. I think we need to research to see whether if this law is what they call shepherdized, or if it is still a viable law, and apparently it is, considering it was applied in this particular case. But I think that it's a law that needs to be challenged. Should this law be allowed? Is the first question I have. Should this law, the Stand Your Ground law, should that law be allowed? What do you think? Give us a call, 813-235-0644. What do you think? Do you think that this law should be allowed? I personally believe that the Constitution does allow for the right to bear arms. I do believe that you should be allowed to have weapons if you feel necessary in your home and those kind of things for the protection of your home. But to be able to carry a weapon and have a law that basically can make it legal for you to just shoot somebody and say that it was in self-defense, which of course, it would have to be proven otherwise. But basically, the way the law is written, you basically can quote unquote self-defend and say that you felt like your life was threatened. And there are other cases other than the Trayvon Martin case. And, we won't have time tonight to go into all of those cases, but the individual cases is not really the essence. The essence of it is the law itself. So I feel like on the Heart to Heart Talk Show, we address things from pretty much a Christian standpoint. So I too want to hopefully hear from those who are of the Christian faith, and I would love to get your view on this stand your ground, because surely that would not be a law that I would think a Christian would utilize, but who knows? So, what is your perspective? Do you think that this law should still be allowed? Give us a call. You can call 813-639-TALK. That's 813-639-8255. And give us a call. We'll be glad to hear from you here at the Heart to Heart Talk Show. Also, is it being applied fairly? Is the stand your ground law, does it actually get applied fairly? Is there bias in how it gets applied? There was a case of a man, African-American man, who was charged, and he tried to use stand your ground, and it didn't work for him. But there are others who are trying to use this law, and I don't know. I think I won't say that there is a bias in the application of the law, but I will tell you that I believe that like anything else, if a loophole can be found and a criminal wants to commit a crime, then they can find this loophole and try to use this law to commit a crime. Let's take a look and see what some of the law passages says. Basically, in the use of force in defense of a person or yourself, a person is justified in using force except deadly force against another when and to the extent that the person reasonably believes that such conduct is necessary to defend yourself. Okay? So basically what that is saying in a nutshell is that this law is supposed to actually justify the use of force, but it is an exception of deadly force. So I don't understand really where we get the perception that it's okay to take a life and then say, I was standing my ground. And they try to hide behind this law of self-defense. But it clearly states that it is an exception of deadly force. Okay. It talks about when there's imminent use of unlawful force. It says, however, a person is justified in the use of deadly force and does not have a duty to retreat if. Now, there are exceptions here. So it says he or she must reasonably believe that such force is necessary to prevent imminent death. So, of course, it makes sense. You match force with force. If somebody pulls a weapon or if they are threatening to kill you, something like that, your life is in imminent danger, then yeah, you should have the right to protect yourself. So I don't have no problems with that. But the problem is who gets to interpret and determine whether if there's actual imminent danger at the time. So, so now you have this weapon, you use the weapon, you've taken a life, but now who's to say that it really is an imminent threat? So you would have the freedom to choose whether if you feel it's an imminent threat or not, and then you actually get to commit basically a crime, but you get away with murder, or you get away with doing bodily harm to the point where it could be deadly force. So we're posing a question tonight on should the law of stand your ground be allowed, and is it being applied fairly? Are we truly engaged in this law to the point where we are prepared to take the time out to see if it's being applied fairly? And see, most people, when it comes to the law, I'm finding that it's not important until it applies to you. So when it actually becomes an issue that is important to you, then all of a sudden, of course, we want to be involved with the law. We want to picket, and we want to go down to City Hall, and we want to holler and scream, and we want to do all of these things. But we're not engaged in it on a regular basis. We're basically blinded by paying bills and living, living our lives until, we feel like we have to be faced with these kinds of situations. So our goal on the show is to bring light to these issues that you otherwise would not necessarily pay attention to, because I think, in essence, it very well could be you. You might not be the person actually defending yourself. You could be the person that they end up attacking. Someone may attack you and say that it was stand your ground. They could say that you attacked them and they had to defend themselves, and then you could find yourself on the other side of the law. So I'd be interested in hearing your opinions. So you're welcome to give us a call, 813-639-TALK, or that's 813-639-8255. You're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr., and I absolutely I'm absolutely interested in this topic, and I want to dig into this a little bit more because it's interesting. It's a very interesting law to me. I haven't heard of it in other states, but I am going to dig into that to find out where it applies in other states in the country, because I don't, self-defense is self-defense, but you're supposed to, from what I always understood in the law, that you're supposed to meet with equal force. If a person is unarmed, then you are not supposed to shoot them 20 times with a gun and they're not even armed, or you shouldn't even be using a gun if they are not armed. So it's meeting equal force. So this thing with Trayvon Martin, I think, really shed some light on it. I think, that light went dim for a minute, but there's been no push against the legislation to challenge this law. And I think we need to address the validity of the law to see if it's actually now still viable in its wording and in its application. And, I would be interested to know if the Christian community should have a response. Should the churches be responding? Are these the kind of situations and issues that the church should be having a response to? And I don't know. I'm thinking maybe, because it impacts our community. It impacts, I promise you, that small town where Trayvon Martin lived, I'm sure is, permanently impacted forever, because they'll never forget. That little community will never forget what took place, and it's a shame that it would take those kind of issues to cause us to actually, to pay attention to stuff that is important. So, you're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about the Stand Your Ground law tonight. And we're actually just dialoguing on whether this justifiable use of force is actually applicable. Does it really apply? Does it really apply? And so, I'd be interested in hearing your opinions, or you're welcome to also email us as well at hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. That's hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. You're welcome to respond and give us your feedback. Let us know what you thought. Give us your thoughts and opinions. We'll definitely speak to that again later on, maybe on another show. We'll get an opportunity to share your thoughts. But we definitely want to hear from you, get your opinions on these issues. We thank you for tuning in tonight. Standing your ground. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? Do you think it's viable? Do you think that is a viable issue? You have all kinds of people carrying weapons. Gun control is a huge issue right now. I do appreciate the fact that the president is actively engaged in addressing the gun control issue. It is a shame that it would take situations such as the shootings at the school and those kind of things. It's a shame that it takes all of that to bring us to a place where we start addressing these issues more. But I do appreciate the fact that there is a response, that there's a response from the president that says, hey, we need to get a handle on these guns. There are automatic weapons being found in people's homes. I'm military. There's military people, owning semi-automatic weapons and different things in their home. For me, whether if you're retired or if you're still in the military, whatever, I can't see the need to have semi-automatic weapons in your home. That's, to me, I think that's overkill. Even if you're a collector of guns or whatever, that's a little bit overkill to me. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I'm not against bearing arms, but I do think that there is some lines that have to be drawn, because when 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds in our neighborhoods have the opportunity to break in and get a hold of these weapons, then I think it becomes definitely an issue. And so we have to be willing to take responsibility for those issues. What if somebody breaks in your home and they take those weapons? They end up on the street. So I don't know. I think we have to take a look at these laws. I mean, take a look at what's going on in our neighborhoods. We no longer can go in our home, shut the door, close our eyes, and act like things are not happening. We can't just get on our knees and pray and say, by faith, we're going to believe that everything just changes. I think that is viable to a point, but somewhere along the line, we have to actively engage in the work of change. And if we want safer neighborhoods and we want more productive neighborhoods, we have to take responsibility within our own neighborhoods, and we have to take responsibility within the legal community and address our legislation, address our leaders, and let them know what we don't agree to. And it's a shame because the church itself basically don't respond very well to most of these kind of issues. And I think these are the kind of issues that we definitely need to be involved in because we do have a say-so. I mean, I think, we need to bring back the days when people with different morals and values spoke up and they said, hey, this is important. This is important to our neighborhood. This is important to us. And, we're not standing for that. And it would mean something, but today there's such a compromise across the board that no one wants to speak up and say anything, and that's what this show is about. This show is about addressing various topics and issues, some may be more controversial than others, but to shed light on these areas where we need to be paying attention, and hopefully we can begin to make some impact in our neighborhoods. You're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr., and we're making our debut. We this is about our fourth time, I think, on the air, and we are now on internet radio. Very excited. We came from out of the mainstream radio, and we're looking forward to growing together with you. We're building a whole brand new audience, and we're definitely appreciative of your support, and we hope that you will tune in every Sunday at 8:30, and be sure to follow the shows, and definitely email us topic suggestions, anything like that you have, feedback, and we definitely will be glad to hear from you. And that's at heart2hearttalk46@gmail.com, and you can email us your topic suggestions and things like that, and we love that because that gives us an opportunity to address things that are important to you, and from our heart to your heart, we definitely would be interested in hearing from you. So thank you again for tuning in tonight. And if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the Stand Your Ground laws, and why are they important? Is it even important? Is it important to have a law that allows you to legally, with force, engage someone and be protected by the law? If someone is threatening you, or they threaten you with a weapon, if you get the best of that situation and you respond back with a weapon, then some would say, yeah, it would be good to have a law in place that protects that, But what happens, like in the case of Trayvon Martin, where maybe there is a physical altercation, but the circumstances suggest that whole situation could have been avoided. So this young man's life should have been preserved. I mean, he should not have had to have lost his life behind those circumstances that took place. So, I think, we have to take responsibility for these things. I mean, we can't keep sweeping stuff under the rug and say, oh, it's okay, this happened that time, it's okay, the law is still good. No, we need to take a look at it. Maybe the law is not good. Maybe it needs to be reworded. Maybe there needs to be some structure put to it. Maybe it needs to be abolished. Who knows? I don't know. But I feel like it's an important topic that we need to address. And I do appreciate you taking the time out to listen and follow up with us tonight. And let me see. Let's take a look at this too. The law also says, and I'm reading this right from the statute. It says, there's home protection, there's all of that. Now, I don't know how many of you own home weapons in your home. If we love to hear from you, get your opinion on how you feel like it's important. If you feel like it's important to be able to protect your home, do you have weapons in your home? How do you deal with that if you have children? We definitely would love to hear from you, because I don't carry weapons, at my home, but, I am seriously considering it, because you just never know what situation is going to take place or what may happen. But that may not necessarily be a good choice for everybody. If you're not trained properly to use weapons, then maybe it's not necessarily the greatest idea for you. Maybe there are other options, self-defense or some mace or whatever. But, the first thing people want to gravitate to is, I want a gun. But there are people who have been shot with their own weapons, shot with their own guns, having loaded weapons, people being shot mistakenly. Children have shot themselves mistakenly. So all of these things are very important. And if a person is running around with a weapon in their hand or a weapon on their person, and they feel jittery, they feel jumpy, they feel scared or whatever it might happen, nervous, and they shoot somebody because they think they're threatened, that's a life taken. So what if it turns out that there really was no threat, but you think that there is, so you shoot the person, you take a life, and now that life is gone. It can't be brought back, and there's no recourse. Is there no recourse? I mean, I think there should be. I think there should be recourse. And, I am grateful that our court process, our legal process, while imperfect as it is, I think it does work to the majority of the time to flush out the facts of a case and to flush out the truth. Of course, most people would disagree and say, that is skewed, that there really isn't any clarity in the application of the law. But I think in terms of legal systems all over the world, I think we have one of the better systems, at least a humane system that at least makes the effort to promote fairness. So, and this is really, like I said, this is a new law for me because I'm not originally from this area in Tampa, Florida. But it's interesting to have a law in this state that basically makes it legal to, as some have said in the research I did, some say it's a legal way to kill. And so, I don't know. What are your views on that? I mean, I don't know. I think. I don't know. I think it's important. People who are raising up children, I think that they would want to know that their child can run to the store and get something to drink, get some candy, whatever, and can run back home without somebody chasing them down, fighting them, and shooting them. I mean, and then say, oh, I'm justified because he fought back. I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy to me. You're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr. And listen, I just want to share with you. We're going to be having some other shows coming up. In February, we're going to talk about relationships since we're in celebration of the Candy Day, Valentine's is coming. So we want to address relationship issues and topics. So if you have topic suggestions that are relationship in nature, for the entire month of February, we are going to be addressing those topics. Now, some shows might be pre-recorded, so you may or may not catch us live. Right now, we're live where you can dialogue with us. We definitely want you to call in 813-639-8255. But if you catch us where it's pre-recorded, please just listen to the show. You might actually gain some information from it. But we're going to be talking about relationships, and we're going to be looking to bring some professionals, some different people in to interview and talk about relationship issues that are affecting not just marriages, but just even relationships in general across the board. The view of relationship and how it's affecting even the church, or how it's affecting homes, dealing with single parenting, all of those kind of issues. We want to talk about all of that because a lot of times, when you think that you are alone in your situation, sometimes it helps to be able to dialogue and hear from other people or hear from other professionals that can help guide you in the right ways to handle certain circumstances or situations. Maybe you can improve your relationship. You might be married a long time. Maybe there's some ways to help improve your communications or improve your sex life or whatever it is that you're having struggles with, but we're gonna speak to the real. This is a keep it real kind of a show, real talk from the heart. We that's our motto. So we want to keep it real and address real issues. So email us at hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com and let us know what those relationship topics are that you have interest in addressing, and we will definitely be taking a look at those through the month of February, and then we will continue on from there. We're going to be talking about some real estate issues here in the state of Florida. We're going to be talking about and different financial things, how to help improve your finances. We're gonna be talking about different things. We're gonna make it interesting for you and try to bring some information to the table that you would be interested in and things that can help improve life. Okay, so any suggestions you have that you would like for us to address, you can email us at heart2hearttalk46@gmail.com. And I am your host, Eric May Sr. You're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show, and we do thank you so much if you're just now tuning in. We thank you for joining us. We've been talking tonight about the Stand Your Ground laws, and there is a Florida statute that falls under the justifiable use of force, and that law basically suggests that it is lawful for a person to protect themselves with force, and it is not to be deadly force unless there is an apparent threat of imminent threat of danger. Then you can use deadly force if necessary to prevent that imminent danger. So I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. It is getting pretty serious out here, but I don't know. I don't know if it's so much so that we have to have laws that makes it justifiable to be able to take a life. I was very, very shocked and very blown away with this Trayvon Martin case. I mean, I know it's over now, but I was very shocked with this because this young man is now gone from here. He's gone from us, and his life should have been preserved. I mean, it was a senseless killing, and what was amazing to me is that the system actually entertained the idea of standing your ground when the young man didn't pose any threat. He didn't aggressively pose any threat. He was pursued. He was followed, even against the instruction of the police department. He was followed, which should have fell under harassment. All of those kind of things. So, the fact that it even went down that road of standing your ground to me is ridiculous. But but that's just my opinion. I think it's it speaks to whether if this thing is very valid or not. I think it's a loophole that we criminals will try to hide behind. They'll shoot somebody, kill somebody, and run behind this law and say, "Hey, I was trying to defend myself, and that's why I killed him." And the American tax dollars are paying for this. Every time those things have to go to court, it's coming out of the American taxpayer's pocket, and we're paying for all of these things going on. So I think we need to have a voice on these things, and I'm hoping that the Heart to Heart Talk Show will be one of those voices. So, and we do appreciate your participation, and we appreciate everything that you do to help support us and support our success. So we're going to be looking forward to hearing more from you all, and we do appreciate all of the supporters that have been encouraging us, and we are looking forward to have more growth, more things happening. And let me just say that we are going to be considering a co-host for the show. We will be considering a co-host for the Heart to Heart Talk Show. And so if you are truly interested in being a talk show host, you can audition. You need to email us at the heart2hearttalk46@gmail.com. You need to put in the subject line co-host. You need to put that in the subject line. You need to put co-host, and you need to just type out a little note saying why are you interested in being a talk show host, and why do you feel that you would be a good talk show host. And you need to somehow get a voice file or some kind of sample so that your your voice can be heard. And then we at some point I will designate a time to have participants to come in and co-host with me as a kind of an interview, and then we'll share on some things and dialogue on some things, and we'll just see if anyone gets selected to be the co-host of the show. So we're looking at doing some things, and I do appreciate in advance all of you that will be submitting your information. So we're looking forward to interviewing you and seeing how that goes. Okay, so you're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr., and we are having a good time. I just want to say publicly thank you to Nolan and to the Talk Wad Network and all of you that is making it possible for us to be able to air and be able to speak with you tonight, and we do thank you so very much. So to all of the team, for Nolan and the entire team at Talk Wad, we do thank you so much for what you do. And listen, we're gonna have some exciting times. I'm looking forward to having some comedians on the show. We're gonna have some folks come in, and so we can have some fun. And I'm not interested in just having a lot of heavy talks and stuff. We want to have some fun conversations, and we want you to feel engaged, and we want you to feel the show. I want the show to feel like, I want you to feel like it belongs to you. I want you to, take ownership and give us a call and participate with us and make this an enjoyable engagement together. And that's what the Heart to Heart is all about, from our heart to your heart. And we certainly look forward to sharing more with you. So each and every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. we'll be right here. So we definitely want you to continue to keep tuning in. And if you have, again, any topic suggestions, make sure that you give us a call, or make sure you email us. You can email us at hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. And you can give us a call here at 813-639-8255, okay? And we definitely look forward to hearing from you. You're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you're just now tuning in, we've been talking about the Stand Your Ground law. Wow, what an amazing legal position, to have a law that makes it possible for a person to bear arms, kill somebody if you want to, use deadly force, and you can say, hey, I was just protecting myself, even if it ain't even true. I mean, basically there's a law that works on your behalf. So it's just amazing. And I could be just over exaggerating a little, but I'm just saying, it's an amazing thing. This thing with Trayvon Martin was very surprising to me. So, that whole process was amazing to me. This young man's life is taken, and they actually tried to say it was self-defense. That was crazy. But I'd love to hear your opinions. Definitely shoot us a note. Email us at hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. And we definitely want to hear from you. On next week, we're getting ready to start going into our February relationship shows. So you definitely want to be tuning in. Call your neighbors, call your cousin and them, call auntie and everybody. Let them know that they need to get on their computers, they need to log in, and they need to make sure that they catch these shows coming up, because it's going to be very, very interesting information. We're going to be talking about all kind of facets of relationship. We're going to get into some things, and we're going to keep it real, and we hope that we'll be able to address some stuff. There's some people out there struggling, and we're hoping that we can be a source of support and information that'll do something well for people's relationships. This 2013 can be a good year, and it could be a good changing year. So hopefully we can play a role in that and help provide some information and encouragement and stuff, and we'll have some fun with that. We're going to try to get some relationship counselors in here, and we're going to try to get we may even try to get some people from the church community. We're going to talk to different people about, the marriage process, dating, all these new dating things, online dating, how things have changed with online dating versus just meeting people in your local neighborhood, all kinds of things. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about sexual issues. We're gonna talk about all kinds of things, because all of these things, communications, why is it so hard for men and women to communicate? So we're gonna talk about a lot of those things because I think those are topics that are important. We may hit on domestic violence, dealing with domestic violence issues. We want to talk to that issue, and we want to shed light on those things because I think it's important because there are people who are struggling with some of these areas, and the church sometimes don't do a very good job in addressing those issues. So the whole point of the show is to address these things and open up a place of dialogue where we can help find resolve for some of these things, So I'm very excited about that, and I'm looking forward to having all of you as my guests to tune in right here at the Heart to Heart Talk Show, where I am your host, Eric May Sr., and we're definitely going to have a awesome time going all the way through, starting next week, all the way through the end of February. So we're going to hit about 4 or 5 shows, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of relationship things. I'm pretty excited about that. And we're going to have some fun with that. So don't forget, you can call us at 813-639-8255. Don't forget, make sure you write it down, 813-639-TALK. 813-639-8255, and that's the call-in number. So if you have questions, comments, feedback, you can call, and we'll be glad to share and dialogue with you right here on the show. And if you call and you catch us during a time where it's pre-recorded, please make sure you call us back again. Don't forget, it's Sunday evenings at 8:30 p.m. Until 9:30 p.m. So we do thank you so very much for tuning in and supporting the show. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show, and I am your host, Eric May Sr. I do appreciate all of the love and all of your support, and thank you all so much for being so kind. And we do thank you for what you do. And listen, be careful out here with this stand your ground thing. Be careful, okay? Be careful out here because it's getting very dangerous, and people are trigger happy, and they are taking lives. And once you take a life, you can't give it back. So just be very careful out here. Watch your children, pay attention to where they're going, and pay attention to who they're around, and let's just be mindful of what's happening around us because time is a precious thing, and we don't want to if you can avoid things happening, let's do our best to do that. We want to live safely. And listen, I want to send out a shout out. I want to send a shout out to Light of the World Deliverance Church in Tampa, Florida. Right here in Tampa, Florida, I wanted to just say hey to Apostle Johnny Jones and Evangelist Jones, my spiritual father and mother over there. We do thank you all so much for all of your encouragement and support there at the church, and all of the Light of the World family. We do appreciate all of you and your encouragement and your support as well. And want to just send a shout out to some of my friends, and I have Tawana, my friend, here in the studio today. So I wanted to say hey, Tawana, just say hi to you. And I just do appreciate having support from friends and people who will support you. It's awesome when you're up against doing something different. You always need to have support. So I do appreciate all of the support that we get, and we do thank you very, very much. So on behalf of the Heart to Heart Talk Show, I just want to say thank you very much for your support. Listen, don't forget, listen, if you're just tuning in, don't forget, make sure you send us your topic suggestions, comments, and feedback, okay? Make sure you do that. It's hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. And we do appreciate that. And we're gonna have an excellent lineup. We're gonna have some artists coming in, singing artists. We may have one or two people to come in to talk about their talents and gifts and what they're contributing to the community and all those kind of things. And we'll have a couple of select people that's going to be coming in. So we got some awesome shows that are coming up, and we definitely want you to tune in and tell your neighbors, tell everybody you know that the Heart to Heart Talk Show will be America's #1 Christian-based talk show, and we are looking forward to much growth. And we do appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you, so we do thank you so very much for what you do and for your support of us. Thank you so very much. And we have plenty of openings for we have some advertisement openings for businesses, and we have some sponsorship availabilities. So if you have a small business, if you have an online type business and you're interested in possibly sponsoring the show, or you're interested in some advertising space, listen, make sure you give us an email, give us a shout, let us know. In the subject line, just put sponsorship or advertisement, and we'll definitely make sure that someone gets in touch with you. And you can send that to hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com. And we'll be definitely excited to get a chance to partner up with you and let everyone know what you're offering and what you do. Okay, so thank you so very much. We're going to be doing some business spotlights here in the area, in the Tampa area. We'll be selecting some businesses, some small businesses, and then we'll invite them to come in on the show. We'll interview them maybe for about 15 minutes or so, and we'll give them 15 minutes of fame where they'll get a chance to talk about their business and what they do and how you can find them. So we'll be doing some of that. Make sure you be ready. We'll surprise you. We're just going to come to your business, and we're going to surprise you, and we're going to say, hey, we're from the Heart to Heart Talk Show, and we want to give you 15 minutes of fame. So we want you to come to the studio, and we're going to interview you on Sunday night for 15 minutes, and we'll get a chance to talk about your business. You get a chance to talk about where you are, where you're located, and the people here in the area can find you, and hopefully they will bring you more business. How about that? So we're looking forward to doing some of that as well. We're going to interview some church leaders in the area, different denominations or what have you. We're going to be talking to some of them on issues that are happening socially around our areas. We're going to be interviewing some of them and talking to some church leaders in the area as well. So, we may talk to banks. We may talk to all kind of folks. So stay tuned. We're going to have some really, really good information. I'm really excited about the financial part of it. We're going to be talking about how to invest, what to invest in, how to manage your own investments. When you get to the point where you want somebody else to manage it, how do you select the best one for you? All of those kind of things. We want to talk about all of that because, we're all trying to secure a better life, and you need information. Information is key. So we want to make sure that we bring you viable information that helps you from our heart to your heart, okay? And we're going to keep it right here. We're going to keep it real, and we're going to become your #1 Christian-based talk show. We want you to think about us when you want information and when you want to actually share your heart and talk and give your opinions. We want this show to be your show of choice. So we definitely hope that you'll continue to keep tuning in to us, and we'll be more than happy to dialogue with you. Again, on next week, just so you know, mark your calendars on next week. We're going to start our relationship series on next week, okay? So we may end up having a surprise guest or something. So we want you to tune in right here at www.waveoffaith.com. Go to waveoffaith.com, click on the Heart to Heart Talk Show button, and you will come and you'll be able to see us, hear us, talk to us. You can dialogue with us. You can call in and share your thoughts, opinions, and we'll be definitely glad to hear from you. Okay. So don't forget, on next Sunday at 8:30, we are going to kick off our relationship series. So it's going to be awesome. I'm very, very excited. And then we're going to run that series all the way through February. Okay. So, make sure you tune in. We're going to have a good time with that. Okay. We want you to get your calendars. Make sure you keep your calendars up to date, okay? And if you're just now tuning in, you're listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show. I'm your host, Eric May Sr., and we do thank you so much for tuning in and following along with us tonight. Tonight we talked about the Stand Your Ground law, and I tell you, it's a very interesting thing. We're going to be going into some other legal issues. We're going to talk about real estate. We're gonna talk about there's some different issues happening in the state of Florida around real estate. We're gonna talk about the relationship stuff. We're gonna talk about financial stuff. We're gonna have some singers and artists come. We're gonna do some good shows for you. Okay, so we want you to spread the word that the Heart to Heart Talk Show is right here on waveoffaith.com, and we want this to be your show of choice. Okay, so thank you so very much in advance for helping to promote us and making friends with us. Okay, so we are now about to go to a break, so we want you to certainly tune in, keep tuning in. There's other shows here at TalkWad, so we want you to go to TalkWad Network at www.talkwad.com and check out some of the other shows that are going to be happening on the lineup. And we want you to definitely support the other shows as well. Okay, but you've been listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show, and I'm your host, Eric May Sr., and we do thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And he's looking for my staff out there. Looking for my staff. Where is the staff? Where is the engineer? Okay.
You've been listening to the Heart to Heart Talk Show, where your host is Eric Mays Sr. You can email questions, comments, topic suggestions to hearttohearttalk46@gmail.com.